Okay, hello there. Welcome. Thanks for joining me. This lesson video, we're going to be having a look at the classic waltz, the Tennessee Waltz. So, an instrumental version of this classic tune, arranged for the Clawhammer banjo. So, we're going to be playing it here in the key of G. I think various people have done it in different keys over the years. Here we're going to do it in G, and it's going to be an excuse to use older G tuning. Okay, which is maybe a slightly less common G tuning to use. It's very similar, or indeed is exactly the same, some people would say, as last chance tuning. You can play last chance in this tuning really easily. So some people use this tuning for last chance, others use a slightly different tuning. So what is it? What are the notes here? Now you notice I've got a capo on. So I think using a capo is the easiest way to actually get into this tuning and use it to play in the key of G. You can just tune everything up if you want on the banjo. You can just tune all your open strings up to the same notes that we're going to go through. But what I'm going to do now is go through the actual notes with the capo on. Okay? So from fifth to first, we're going to start here on the fifth string. We have a G. Then we have a D. Then we have another G. Then another D. And then we have an E on top. So G, D, G, D, E. G, D, G, D, E. So you can see it's got some things, it's kind of a little bit like double C tuning almost. You've got these two strings, second and fourth are the same. But we have a lowered third string. So here with the capo on 2, this note is a G. So if the capo wasn't on, the third string would be an F. Open there, okay? So G, D, G, D, E. If you wanted to give that kind of chord a name, you could call it G6. Right? It's got root 5th and 6th in. There's no third in there, but... So the tune itself, Tennessee Waltz, it's got these. It's got 2 parts, and the end of the sort of the B part, or the chorus, if you like, is kind of the same as the A section, pretty much, with a slight variation. So there's some repeated material from the A section in the end of the B section. And the way it works, there are 2 tabs for this one actually. This video we're going to really look at the kind of second version, which is pretty similar to the first version. The only difference is there's a couple of alternate kind of phrasing ideas, and there's some variation put in using chord voicings. That's the kind of main difference here. So you're going to hear some chords put in there to kind of enrich the arrangement, particularly if you're playing it solo banjo. Now these chords, they're not the kind of like official chords to Tennessee Waltz. Some people will play them differently, but there's some ideas that you can use, and you'll kind of see them varying. There are kind of a couple of places where you could use one chord, you could use another, and you'll see sometimes we use one and sometimes we use the other. That'll make more sense when we get into it. So it has these two sections, A and B, and they just play straight through all the way. There's no repeats. And then right there under the tab, there's a kind of just an ending bar you can use. It's just there on its own line. You can use that to finish the tune. Okay, so chord shapes to go through. I think there's a few here that we'll talk about. So the first one we're going to be using a lot, kind of chord 1 is a G chord here. So you can play it like that, 3rd fret on the 1st string. This is all relative to the capo, all these numbers, right? 3rd fret there on the 1st string. It's got no 3rd in it that way. If you want to put a 3rd in it, you can put in the 4th fret on the 3rd string as well. So that's our G or our 1 chord. Next chord we're going to come up in this arrangement is an E minor. Now you can do that, a kind of version of E minor, just using the 2nd fret on the 4th string. We're also going to do it with the 4th fret on the 3rd string as well. So E minor there, that's chord 6, it's the relative minor here in the key of G. And then D, chord 5. So this is 2 and 2 on strings 1 and 3. So that's chord 5 there, kind of like an A minor or the minor 6 at double C tuning, if you know that shape. Then we're back to G, chord 1 for a while. And then we have a brief appearance of chord number 4, which is a C. Now, there's one thing about this tuning which is a little awkward, is playing chord 4. It's a bit of a stretch, so usually in this tuning, at least the way I've been doing it, I kind of use little fragments of the chord. And you get some kind of interesting, some sort of slightly more complex, harmonically speaking, voicings of the 4 chord here. But we're just going to call them a C, just to make it easier. So this is one nice way you can play it. It's 3rd fret on the 1st string and 5th fret on the 3rd. And that's how we're going to use it really in the tune. You can also, if you want to, add in the 2nd fret down on the 4th string. It makes it a bit of a stretch. And if you want to combine all of those, it's horrible. Right, so we'll do it like this. And again, you notice there, it's not just a normal C chord though. Anyway. Okay, so that's all the chords pretty much for the first section. Now in the second section we get this nice, you hear this nice B7 coming in. So we're going to play this B7 high up the neck. You can play it down here, but it's horrible. So we're going to do it up the neck to make it a little easier. So there it is, right now. Relative to the capo, this is fret 7 on the 2nd string, 8 on the 3rd, and 9 on the 4th. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, yeah, that's right. 7, 8, 9 with fingers 1, 2, and 3. In real terms, that's frets 9, 10, and 11. So sometimes when you're using a capo and you get higher up, it's quite easy to get lost. So it's quite useful to have the frets there in real terms. A second. Like that. So 7, 8, 9, or 9, 10, 11, depending on how you like to think about that one. Now following that B7, we're going to use a high voicing of the 4 chord of C, which we played down here before. We're going to play it up here, just because it follows on quite nicely from that. So that's fret number 10 and 12 relative to the capo, or in real terms it's 12 and 14. Okay, so that's another way of playing your 4 chord, that's a C. Okay, and that's kind of it for chords. There's quite a few. You've got 1, you've got 6, you've got 5, you've got 4, you've got the major 3, that's the B7, and then you've got high 4 up here. Alright, let's get stuck into the tune then. So, we're going to start with some pickup notes. This in waltz time, we have a counting of 2, 0, 1, 2, and then a 0, 2 hammer on on that third string. A 1, 2. And then you can see the first note of the first bar proper is the 4th fret on the third string. That's kind of the first phrase, that's the first 2 bars. So we have a hammer on that third string, 2nd fret. Ring finger goes down, 4th fret, and then we hit the open 2nd string. And then we kind of repeat, we hammer. This time, instead of waiting for the open 2nd string, we're going to aspo into it to get there sooner. So a little bit of a tricky move, that. So we hammer on 0, 2, ring finger goes down, and as that's happening, index finger drops to the 2nd string. So by the time you hit that 4th fret on the 3rd string, you're in essentially a little chord shape. You need to have a finger down on that 2nd string ready to do the aspo. And that's the moment when you want to have it down. There. So if this move is tricky, a good little way to practice is do the hammer and then throw those 2 fingers down and make a little chord shape at the same time. Now you notice my index finger is around about the 2nd fret on the 2nd string. Doesn't have to be that. You could do it any finger anywhere. You could do it middle finger, right? That falls out about the 3rd string there. You could do pinky like that, and then do your aspo with the pinky or with the middle. Be careful with which finger and fret you choose though, because sometimes you might hear a bit of a dud note if you press down too hard or if your timing is slightly off. So that index finger is safe. Often it's a good idea to do these fretted aspos, the finger that's preparing to do the aspo, to put it over a safe note. And by a safe note I mean kind of in the scale that we're using to play the tune. And then after we've done the aspo, we skip thumb, and then we start to go up. 5 on the 1st string and a thumb. So we have aspo, skip, thumb, 5, thumb, aspo, skip. Oh! Like that. Now, we're going to carry on, hammer on bar 3. We're going to hammer on from 5 to 7. And then we're going to do a little skip thumb to the 5th string, and then a drop thumb, 5 on the 1st string to the open 2nd. And then bar number 4. So a bit going on there in that bar. We're going to put our E minor chord down, chord 6, 2nd fret, 4th string, and at the same time we're going to grab the 3rd fret on the 1st string. We're going to brush through the E minor, not like a big sort of rhythmic bashy kind of brush, not like that kind of thing, more gentle, almost a fan, but not quite. And you're going to make sure at the end that you come up strong on the 1st string, because that's where the melody is here. We don't want the bottom end of the chord to overshadow the melody. And then again, skip thumb, followed by a hammer-on triplet on the 2nd string, 0, 2, 4. Index to ring finger. Now you can do this straight, each of those 3 notes having its same amount of time, or you can kind of whip it. So you kind of wait a little bit, and then you really move quickly. So it means that 4 ends up kind of feeling like it has very little time for the 4 before you hit the note in the start of the next bar, which is the 3rd fret on the 1st string. You can do that with your middle finger. Or straight. Or whippy. Okay. On to bar number 5. This one's nice and easy. 3rd fret, 1st string. Open 2nd, 4th fret, on the third string. We're making a G chord here essentially. With the bar before, onto bar 6. That's the melody line. We're adding an E minor chord in the bottom of it. So pinky finger, 4th fret, 3rd string, index finger, 2nd fret on the 4th, or you could do it with your ring finger if you prefer. Again, we're going to brush, nice kind of like delicate brush, to find that melody note on the 1st string at the bottom there, and then just back down through the chord. So and then to the 5 chord, which is D. So let's take those 2 bars together, 7 and 8. D chord down, strike the open, that's 2 on the 1st string, 2 on the 3rd. Hit the 3rd string, brush thumb, little hammer, 2-4 on that 3rd string. And then back to the D, strike the 3rd string, and brush thumb, and then we 0-2 hammer like the pickup notes at the beginning of the tune. Okay, now on the tab you're going to see a bar that's crossed out. Basically it's because I made a mistake and I realised right at the bottom of the page I don't want to go back and rub everything out. So ignore bar 9 there, right? Doesn't exist. We'll go straight on to the 4th line of tab, to what is actually bar 9. So all those 3 bars are exactly the same as the first 3, so we'll skip over those. And then, so that's 9, 10, 11, bar 12. Instead of doing the 6th chord, pull off, followed by the triplet. We're going to do this as a 4 chord instead. So this is what I was talking about with the kind of chord variation in the places where the melody is actually the same. We're going to just put a different chord here. We're going to put that 4 chords, that's a C, 5th fret, 3rd string, 3rd fret on the 1st. Nice soft brush again. And pull off to the open 1st string with the index finger. Skip, thumb, triplet, hammer. Okay. Now we're on to 9, 10, 11, 12, bar 13, 14, and 15. So 13 is exactly the same. We've done that again. We did that before up at bar 5. So making that G major chord with the 3rd in it. 3rd fret, 1st string, open 2nd, 4th fret on the 3rd. Then make the D chord for bar number 14. Hit the 3rd string, hit the 1st, and then rise up to 5 on the 1st string. Put those 2 bars together. And then we make a G chord, simple G chord without the 3rd. And there you hear essentially the pickup for the B section. So those last 4 bars. Again. The pickup is the 5th fret on the 1st string and a thumb. Okay, and that does us for the A section. Right, so that was bar 16. So, bar 1 of the B, well, the first phrase of the B section. So you can see that B7 chord, the high B7 chord is coming into play here. So we start with a 5-7 hammer on the 1st string, skip thumb, and And then we're going to drop to the 7th fret on the 2nd string. We're going to do that. It's a little counterintuitive. You might use another finger usually. Like the middle is free. But we're going to want to get the index finger down there to allow us to play that B7 chord. So we 5-7 hammer, skip thumb, and then index finger jumps to 7. And we thumb again. So there's 2 thumbs in that bar. Hammer, skip, thumb, 7, thumb. B7 goes down, so that's 7, 8, 9 relative to the capo, or 9, 10, 11 in the actual frets. Strike the 2nd string, brush thumb through the B7 chord. That's strings 4, 3, and 2. Try and avoid string 1. It won't be a disaster, but that kind of maybe adds a bit too much to the chord, perhaps. And then pinky finger, while these fingers are still down in B7, is going to grab the 9th fret on that 2nd string. So those 2 bars together, we have 5-7 hammer on the 1st string and then a skip thumb. Then 7. Then we make the B7, strike the 2nd string, brush thumb, 9 thumb. Moving on to bar number 3. And 4. So that's our high 4 chord, if you remember. So 10 and 12 relative to the capo, 12 and 14 real terms. Strike the 3rd string, brush thumb. It's quite delicate this. If your banjo's a bit out of tune or the intonation's off, this might sound a bit duff. Just watch out, because we're so high up the neck, you don't accidentally bend any strings. It can be quite hard to notice sometimes if you are, and you might just get something a bit like that. Okay? So strike the 3rd string, brush thumb. And with that brush, you'll see on the tab it's indicated just to brush strings 4 and 3. If you hit string 2, it won't be a disaster. The melody note, though, is here on string 3. Then open 1st, and we're going to transition back down the neck to a G chord, 3rd fret, 1st string. So that open 1st string is your transition note. And then triplet hammer again, like we did before on the 2nd string, 0, 2, 4. So far on the B section. And then we're into stuff we've done before, bar 5. Bar 6. So that was G chord with the 3rd in it. 1st string, 2nd string open, 3rd string with the 4th fret down. E minor with the 2nd on the 4th string and the 4th on the 3rd string. A little delicate brush. Up through the chord. And now, this is bar 7. 6, yep. 5 chord, that's a D. Hit the 3rd string, brush thumb, and a little melody variation here. I'm going to leave this 7th hanging. Right? So that's our D chord, 3rd string, brush thumb, grab the 4th fret, we're walking up that 3rd string, and then pinky on that 3rd string grabs the 5th fret, ring finger, which just did the 4th fret, is going to move up a string to the 4th string, and you're going to make this little 5-4 chord. Right? And then leave that hanging. Ooh. Wait for a beat and then hammer, and we're back into melodic stuff we've done before right at the beginning of the tune. So that last 4 bars. So this is bar 5, 6, 7, 8, hammer. Do that again. Then we're into bar 9, which is the same as the first bar, essentially, the tune. A little variation now. We're going to put in this 7th, this lovely 7th sound on the G. So it's a kind of brush into an aspo here, right? So we hammer 0, 2 on that 3rd string, it's the pickup notes, and then middle finger drops down to the 4th string, and again, it doesn't matter which finger, but I use the index here, is going to jump down to the 2nd. So you're going to make a little chord shape for this aspo. You're going to brush. If you want to, you can actually just brush down into that note and make it not an aspo, just make it a brush into a pull off. Changes the melody slightly. So that's it without the without hitting the 2nd string, and now with. Without. Moving on. Again, it's the pickup we use to get into the B section. 5th fret on the 1st string and a thumb. And this time, another melodic variation, 7/10 slide on the 1st string. So here we're in bar 11. So 7/10 slide, skip thumb, and then back down to 5. And another drop thumb. Striking the 1st string, dropping your thumb to the open 2nd. Oh. So 10, 11, excuse me, just got to count the bars again. 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So that's bar 11. And now, that's the 4-chord brush with the pull off. We did this in the 2nd half of the A section. And then the triplet hammer on the 2nd string. Then we make the G chord with the 3rd. And then we have a little ending variation, melodic variation. So we start from the G chord with the 3rd, and then instead of going, we're going to go. It's a little kind of descending line instead of a ascending. So what's happening there? Pinky finger is grabbing the 5th fret on the 3rd string, and we're going to do a little brush again, a little brush into that melody note, just hitting the 4th string. That's giving us the hint of the 5 chord of the D. And we're going to go 5, 4, 2, 5, 4, 2, and then to a G chord. And then you've got the pickup again if you want to go back to start the tune, or if you want to end. You can just do that. So the last 4 bars. All right, great. Well, that's it. Good luck with that. Hope you enjoy learning this tune. It's great. It's really fun. Nice, delicate banjo piece in a kind of slightly unusual tuning with some nice chord voicings. Any questions? Do let me know. And thanks for watching.